most notorious and sought-after private investigators in Hollywood, but he fell into a maelstrom of controversy during the early 2000s that involved racketeering and wiretapping. Pelicano built an all-star client roster that included Michael Jackson, Elizabeth Taylor, Tom Cruise, Sylvester Stallone, Courtney Love, and many more.
Accused of illegally wiretapping some of Hollywood's biggest names.
I'm a guy who investigates from start to finish. I do it my way. I do it with intelligence and logic.
This is Anthony Pelicano, private investigator. As a Hollywood fixer, Anthony's job was to make problems disappear for celebrities. He was once one of the biggest names behind the scenes in Tinseltown. Anthony was not above resorting to blackmail and intimidation to get desirable results for his clients. But these cruder methods were nothing compared to Anthony's biggest asset, his unparalleled mastery of audio surveillance and the vast archives he, often illegally, compiled on just about everyone who crossed his path. While searching for a guard who had gone missing, Anthony decided to check the yellow pages out for detective agencies, phoning one up and asking to be trained in their methods. After successfully completing a missing persons case for them, Anthony decided this would be the road he would take. In 1969, he decided to make his own way by becoming a private investigator, taking on work tracking missing and kidnapped persons throughout the Windy City and surrounding areas. As a private eye, he called himself Tony Fortune to help sell himself to clients. What brought Anthony the most success was his ability to slip into the shoes of whoever he was tracking, essentially thinking how they thought and working backwards from there. Anthony built a reputation as a logical, clear-minded tactician who had no need for guns. Unfortunately, this early flash of success was short-lived for our protagonist. By the mid-70s, he was facing personal bankruptcy, yet this didn't impede Anthony's rise. He found renewed success in 1977 when he found himself doing work on behalf of Elizabeth Taylor. The story goes that her deceased husband Mike Todd, who had been buried in an Illinois cemetery, had been the victim of grave robbing when it was mistakenly thought he had been buried with a valuable diamond. After police were unable to locate the exhumed corpse, Anthony said he was tipped off by an informant who led him to the body's location, 75 yards away from the grave. Anthony's rivals accused him of setting up the entire affair as an elaborate publicity stunt, which of course he denies. Anthony arrived in Los Angeles around 1982. He quickly built a social circle that included the likes of talent agent Brad Gray and entertainment lawyer Howard Weitzman. Anthony was brought onto the John DeLorean case, where the infamous automotive manufacturer was held on drug trafficking charges during a low point in his career. Mr. DeLorean had been caught on tape being solicited by an undercover FBI informant. Anthony scrutinized the incriminating footage and used his sleuthing abilities to help discredit one of the government witnesses. As for Mr. DeLorean, his legal defense and otherwise squeaky clean criminal history helped him get acquitted on all charges. The DeLorean case brought Anthony Pelicano back into the national spotlight, helping him purchase the finest audio equipment to refine his skills. As Anthony's reputation grew, so did his willingness to bend the law to get the results his clients desired. Anthony advertised his services in legal magazines throughout LA. He once showed reporters how innocuous comments could be made to seem suspect. Apparently, one of Anthony's techniques was to hire Jackson lookalikes, then send them around the world before informing the paparazzi. When the press inevitably fell for these globe-trotting schemes, Anthony would swoop in to chide and discredit them.
In the FBI raid of Pelicano's office, they discovered 150,000 pages of transcribed conversations and thousands of hours of wiretapped phone calls and conversations on audio files.
The recordings are rumored to include not only the targets, but also Pelicano's own conversations with the lawyers hiring him. If any of these indicate that Pelicano's clients were aware of his illegal methods the private eye might use to gather information, the case would end on a dramatic twist. If Pelicano had decided to save himself and cooperate with investigators, the implications for Hollywood would have been cataclysmic.